Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are on F1 22 as always. And in today's video, this is a bit more of a taste of some league racing action. This is actually the pre-season race of BRS, which actually starts tomorrow. So tomorrow, 8 PM, is round one of the new BRS season, and this was a chance to kind of test myself against the field. And we've got a few new drivers in here who are pretty insanely competitive, and this is at Brazil, which I only got to touch on the day itself, but I actually felt pretty good with my pace, so that isn't an excuse at all. I felt very comfortable in this race and in the qualifying as well, but you're about to see in a second and hear me say the lap time comes up very shortly.
Yeah, he's just so fast, man. He's so fast.
And that driver is called FRA Elite 45, and this guy has, I think, got every single world record on Xbox. He is just an insane driver, and I'm not just saying this. I've raced against pretty much every kind of driver you can race against in terms of skill and performance, racing against esport drivers on a regular basis on the last game, and I don't think I've ever gone against anyone who has shocked me in terms of this pace. And again, although Brazil isn't the greatest track for me in the world, the race pace is always something I'm quite proud of, and we saw in last game, even in esports, against esport drivers, that I could definitely hang with them in the race pretty comfortably, if not sometimes even be a little bit faster. But you're going to see in this video that this guy is... I've never seen anyone like this, and watching his footage, he just makes it look so easy. It's just doesn't make a mistake and just carries the speed perfectly. It is just absolutely insane. So we cross the line here and do a 7.2, which I
can't go faster at 0.947. Where?
Yeah, and as you hear me say there, I can't really go much faster than that. Maybe a tenth, 2 tenths or something like that, because obviously this is my first day on the track, but he does a 0.947. And the other people in this lobby, I know some people might say, well, there's not any competition, but Mark Salsa, James B, 2004, Sam Yanner, Andre, Ice Cream, YUK, Joe Wilson, these guys, MV33 Red Bull, these guys have had world records in previous games, so they're not slow drivers at all. And it only seems to be really in the middle sector that I'm losing most of the time. So as we get prepared for the grid here, before we actually go into this race, I think it would actually be good to maybe look at the pole lap of FRA Elite, because he has very kindly allowed me to look at this and to share with you. So please make sure you follow him in the description. He uploads hot laps on YouTube, and he also streams on Twitch as well. So if you want to see a little bit of a different perspective for when this season kicks off. But yeah, his first and third sector weren't that much faster, so maybe half a tenth here, which I can definitely see. And I have done a 0.5 first sector before, and also the last sector, I can definitely see that. But it's his middle sector that is just absolutely nuts. So he does a 6, I think that's a 0-0 first sector, but it's coming through these next sequence of corners where he just gains so much time. So going through here, I'd say we're pretty equal for this one, but it's through these next sequence of corners. So go through here, short shift in 4th gear, down to 3rd, then up to 4th, and then coming through this next one, he actually holds it in 4th gear, and I actually think he goes a little bit wide here, so he probably could have done it a little bit better. It's just for those sequence of corners where I'm losing all the time, and you will see in the race as well that that was a common theme. So you can see he's not driving on the ragged edge, seems very much in control, and you're quite finally got to hear him say it a little bit, that he was pretty disappointed with this, so we're about to hear him here now.
There's so much time in all that.
Which is a little bit concerning to hear, if I'm being honest. But we're on the grid here, lining up next to him, and I know I've certainly got my hands full, so managed to warm up the tyres quite nicely on the formation lap. And now let's see what we can do here. So as we've got 5 lights, and as they go out now, trying to get a good start. We get a pretty good launch in the second phase, better than everyone else behind us. And I knew the fight was on because I did know that FRA actually did a social race in another league the day before around here, so I knew he was definitely quite well prepared. And as he did in that previous race, he pretty much gapped the field within the first couple of laps, breaking out of the DRS zone. So I knew that was his target here. And you know, I've always said on my channel and throughout the years of racing, my race pace, I've never really had that much of a problem. If I can stay with someone for the first part of the race, it's very rare that I've had someone who's been able to just comfortably break out of my DRS zone. And you're about to see for his first few laps, it was a pretty crazy experience. I know looking at this might not look that intense, but when I was driving, I just felt like I just couldn't squeeze out anymore. And you can already see from the guys behind us, we've already gapped them. And as I said in the qualifying, if you're not aware of some of the drivers in here, they are very, very fast. Quite a lot of them are in the top 10 on time trial on every single track. This is certainly not a weak field by any stretch or means. And you can see we've almost pulled 2 seconds from the guy in third place, and I am just absolutely hanging on for dear life here. You can see how much DRS I'm having to use because it is crucial that I stay with him for the DRS zone. So you can see go through here, we stay with him quite nicely, but it's through these next 6 corners. So if you look at the delta, between the 2 corners, he's just gained almost a tenth just between the 2 corners, and then on the exit of this one again, gaining another half a tenth, almost a tenth again, which he does gain a tenth. So it's just through those 2 seconds of corners where he goes in a much higher gear and carries the momentum much more, and is not really concerned about trying to get a better line into it, whereas I'm thinking more about just getting a better entry into the corner. So that's definitely something for this track that I need to work on for sure. And I think this is one of his favourite tracks as well, and you can see or hear me say that he is very, very fast. So we have just about stayed within the DRS zone, but at what cost? They were really, really low on the battery. And I can confirm we were using the same wings as well. So the setup isn't that much different. So I don't really think it's that much of a setup thing. I think it's just more of the speed that he's taking in this middle sector and the gears that he was taking. But please note that this was on the previous build, so lower gears will give you much more traction now than it did on the previous patch. So we might see a few changes, and also with the tyre temperatures as well, you have to be very, very smooth with your driving. Might not reward a oversteer quite or set up quite as much. So as you come into here, we're just trying to hang on as much as we can, and honestly I just felt like I did everything I could in these first few laps. We have been broken from the other side. If you look at the gap behind, it's 2.6 seconds, so it's not like we're driving slowly or anything at all. And honestly, all I can say is fair play. This guy, yeah, I've never gone against him in league racing before. I played against him last game in a few open lobbies, and he was certainly fast there, but I think he is definitely stepped up a level for this game, and he is the man to beat, especially when it comes to Xbox. And if you compare his time trial times to even people on PC or PlayStation, his time trial times on average are actually faster than theirs, and even if you look at his qualifying time. So yeah, I think every so often when I've been playing F1 games really for the last 10 years, you have drivers that come along that are sometimes just a bit special and a little bit on that different level. And I think, no, I'm not quite saying that right now, but if he can continue with this pace and this progress in the future, then I think he's going to have a very bright one indeed. And you can see as we skip on to lap 6, we've still got that gap behind us. We managed to maintain that gap and doing a good pace to those guys, but you'll see in the middle sector that he just pulls away by around half a second in that middle sector every time. So maybe a little bit of a tenth in the first and last, maybe just under a tenth. But in the middle sector, he just pulls away so much. It's crazy. And the race director at the end, if you watch the stream, confirmed that. So he actually pits, and I decided to go 2 laps later because I knew it was going to be pretty impossible to catch him. And honestly, I just wanted some fresher tyres to maybe see if I could go and nab the fastest lap at the end of the race. I knew that I would get undercutted quite a bit, but I was kind of having a boring race at this point, and no, it's only a pre-season race. It isn't that essential, so I didn't really mind maybe having a little bit of a battle with the guys behind and maybe using them to go for a faster lap at the end of the race. So we're coming out of the pits here now. F4 Elite's going to have quite a big undercut from those 2 laps previous, and it's just about warming up the tyres as much as you can at this point, because coming out of the pits, as you can see, almost losing the car. My teammate is now attacking me. You can see they've actually closed in quite a bit of time because of that. But if we were doing an actual Brazil race, then I would have just pitted the same lap of F4 Elite and protected myself from the guys behind. But yeah, in this one here, I just wanted to have a little bit more fun rather than just sitting in the no man's land, and see if I could maybe actually even cut into that gap of F4 Elite with slightly fresher tyres, just to see if it does give me a little bit more pace. But right now, we're not going to be pushing too hard. My teammate is probably going to overtake me quite easily here, so we're going to let him by. And no, in last game, as I said, he had quite a few world records himself, James B 2004. So in the qualifying, I was actually very, very happy with my performance. And no, as I said, when you have a driver of this caliber in this league, I've never experienced anyone with that much race pace before when I've gone against eSport drivers. And yeah, I can definitely certainly improve around this track for sure when it comes to the setup and my driving, since it was only my first day. But no, I felt pretty good. Didn't feel like there was that much time to find in itself. So yeah, in those moments, you just gotta take a bow and be quite impressed. And now right here now, the gap is 14.9 seconds to Elite, and all I've been trying to do is stick behind my teammate, who also had quite good pace himself. And you can see we've actually broken out the DRS zone of Mark Sosa behind Sam Yeno, and we're doing a little bit of dummy on our teammate, just having a little bit of fun in these last couple of laps. And our pace was good, but F4 Elite, I think he just continued to pull away as well. So I'm just trying to set myself up for the last lap of this race here, and you can see a tyre wear isn't too bad, so definitely know for the future that you can pit quite early with these hard tyres. And yeah, we're just going to try and get as good exit as we can, because we do have a couple of lap fresher tyres than my teammate at this stage of the race. But you can see again in the middle sector, that's where F4 Elite pulls away. He is just so strong in this middle sector. It's pretty scary. But coming into the last corner now, and my teammate has a little bit of a moment, so we're going to try and seize this opportunity just a little bit. So using the ERS here to try and carry that momentum, and he goes very, very defensive. So we go back to the racing line, and now coming into this corner, we're just going to outbrake him around the outside, hitting the apex as we do that, trying to get a really good exit off this corner. And now we're going to be using the overtake button, which we all know is very powerful on this game. But I can confirm Elite has actually saved up all his ERS, and I think he's trying to go for another faster lap. So if you pay attention to the delta in this middle sector, as we're running quite low on the ERS here. And yeah, if you just keep paying attention to that delta, so it's a 15.5. Let's see what's going to be, and it's fluctuating between 0.4, 0.5, 0.6 in itself. And yeah, just going to do everything I can. Got a little bit deep into this corner, but I think James B has actually run out of fuel. My teammate was very, very low on the fuel, so he is no longer a factor in this race. And FR8, he does a 9-0, which is just absolutely insane. We're going to get DRS from this guy who has disconnected in the race. And yeah, that was a fairly short video, but that was my pre-season race.
God, I think that is the fastest person I've ever raced against. That's crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, as I just say there, even when I've gone against esport drivers and I haven't been that prepared for a race, I haven't felt like that against someone in terms of race pace. So the season is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a very hard man to beat, especially when it comes to qualifying. But I am confident when it comes to other tracks that I will certainly be making it a little bit more tougher for him. So when I have competition like this, instead of looking at it in a negative way, I use it as motivation to see what is possible. So yeah, league racing starts tomorrow at 8 PM UK time. I will be live on this channel. Make sure you follow BRS for updates, FRA Elites, this man here. And yeah, thank you so much for the support on the videos, and I will be catching you very, very soon. Peace.